Hey, this is Kate. If you're enjoying the content on the Good Fight channel, then please do hit like and subscribe below. Thank you. So I want to talk to you about the Gervonta Davis Hector Luis Garcia fight, which is coming up. It's the first big fight of 2023, right? January 7th. If you listen to Garcia's trainer, Bob Santos, he'll tell you that Tank should never have taken this fight. It's way too dangerous. Tank has too much to lose with the fight with Ryan Garcia coming up ahead. Do you agree with him?
He's a trainer. Bob Santos and Hector Garcia's team has just came from a great performance beating Chris Colbert. So you have to run off that fuel right there. You have to run off that fuel that you were the guy that came in 2 weeks notice, wasn't meant to do what you were meant to do. That kind of like pushes you and motivates you to say, okay, maybe Tank is underestimating me. Bob feels like they can do more with the amount of time that they've had, and he feels that as a coach, of course, you're going to say he or she shouldn't have took this fight. That's your guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, so forget his perspective for a second, then your perspective. How dangerous a fight do you think it is for Tank?
I feel like any fight is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? You can't underestimate anybody. You know what I mean? And me knowing Calvin never underestimates anybody. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like, he always wants Tank to go out there and be the best Tank that he can be with every opponent. So I feel like Tank's going to rise to the occasion too. Same way that Hector's going to rise to the occasion. So I feel like it's going to be a good fight.
I think that for a lot of casual fans, right, Hector is not a name that a lot of people had heard of necessarily coming into this, other than, the win against Chris Colbert, which threw some spotlight on him. But even so, it doesn't feel like a big name fight for Tank, right? In what areas do you think he can cause trouble for Tank? Where do you think he can be a challenge?
Well, I mean, come on now. We all know boxing. It's the guy that you don't know that comes out of nowhere and does what he does. If you're a true boxing fan and you look at a Garcia and you know his background, whether he wasn't a medalist or anything like that, he went to the Olympic Games, you know what I'm saying? That shows that he has some pedigree. You know what I mean? He's fought all kinds of styles. I feel like Tank is maturing more as he's getting older. You know what I mean? That he's just not relying on so much on his power more. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like, he's taking his time more. He's, working on his defense a little bit more. He's boxing more. Like, it was a great fight with him and Rolly. You know what I mean? You saw signs of Tank that you're like, whoa. You saw signs of Tank when he fought Cruz. He had to dig deep and, fight. So I feel like this fight with Garcia people don't know him, but he should be there. He should be there. He fought his way to get here to the Olympics, to get to this country and do what he's done. Now he's being noticed. He wants to stay being noticed. So I feel like he's going to give Tank as much trouble as he can, whether it's letting his hands go, letting Tank feel power, trying to outbox Tank. I think that Garcia's mind's going to be going this whole entire fight because he doesn't want to be embarrassed and he doesn't want to lose.
Okay, question. Do you consider him Tank's best opponent to date? Yes or no?
I'm not one of those people that say this is the best opponent. I feel like when you get in that ring, that's when you see, you know what I mean? Like, people can say, oh, he sucks and all that, yada, yada, yada. I mean, look at what happened with Teofimo and Lomachenko. Look at what happened with Teofimo and Kambosos. Look at what Devin Haney did. Like, everyone looks at the high. They don't ever look at the middle. Like, the middle is like, hey, man, anything can happen today.
Right, listen, that's always true in boxing, right? But at the same time, one other thing we always do in boxing is rank people, right? That's just like a thing. So if you're looking at previous opponents like a Leo Santa Cruz or an Isaac Cruz, where do you think Hector fits in terms of comparing him to those other guys?
Me, I really can't really say because, like, Hector, this is like Hector fighting Chris Colbert and then Hector fighting Tank now. Will people write him off if he loses to Tank, or will they put him into another fight with somebody that's, everyone knows and he beats them? Then people are like, oh, well, this kid is something. You know what I'm saying? So me right now, it's this moment. It's this moment that Tank has to go in there and prove that this guy shouldn't be in the ring with me. And Garcia has to prove that, yeah, this guy shouldn't have picked me. You know what I mean? So I think all this counts on both of them. Like, it's about this moment now. Right now, this is the best opponent for you right now. Because everyone's looking past him and looking at Ryan, you know what I mean? But what happens? You know what I mean? If this guy comes out here as a star-studded performance, the judges look a different way. Then are people going to say, oh, man, Tank should have just done this or done that? No, I feel
Yes,
like,
people will say that.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? But that's not, I feel like that's not fair because you don't know people's mindset that day, how they wake up, how they feel, you know what I'm saying? What they've gone through in camp. You know what I'm saying? No one would have said back in the days that Tyson Fury would have done what he did to Deontay Wilder 3 times. You know what I'm saying? Nobody would have said that. Because why? Here's this God-given talent of Deontay Wilder. He knocks out everybody that he fights. You know what I'm saying? So now people judging Tyson Fury, his look, his appearance, the way he acts, they're not looking at this guy wakes up and trains as hard. He knows what he's going into when he was facing Deontay Wilder. And he woke up. You know what I'm saying? He woke up 3 times. You know what I'm saying? So that moment is your moment. It's your moment.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
so one thing you said about you don't know what people are going through in camp, right? One of the things that's obviously been really publicized building up this fight is the incident that happened for Gervonta Davis. December 28th, he's arrested on charges of domestic violence, which have since been recanted, right? I'm not asking you about the incident because none of us know anything about the incident, right? But the idea of drama in camp. You're somebody who leads a lot of camps, right? As a coach with a lot of different professional fighters. How problematic is drama in camp? Like, how much does that affect your ability to perform on the night?
Drama is a big part of it. You know what I mean? I think sometimes like a lot of athletes aren't aware of it because you as a coach, you try to handle it, take care of it so they can continue doing what they're doing and also keep them focused. You know what I mean? But drama in any camp, you know, whether it's little, you know, small, big, whatever, it can affect who the athlete is. It could affect who the coach is. I feel like sometimes certain drama, it motivates people and pushes people because now you see the real in people. You see the truth in people. You see who really has your back, who's really talking about you, who really wants to see you fail or who wants to see you succeed. Drama opens up a lot. You know, you'll hear the people say, I told you he was going to do this. You know what I mean? Like, look how many people counted Tank out as soon as something happened. You know what I mean? Like, how does that feel? Like, you're 1 minute you're loved, the next you know, boom. Like, everybody's talking about you. Oh, we're looking forward to this fight. The next you know, oh, Tank did it. Tank did that. Like, no one knows the story. So it's like you as a coach in camp, you know the truth. You know what really happened. So you have to bring this kid down every day, every second to be motivated to do it if he's that kid. You know what I mean? So I feel like there's a good and a bad with tension in camp sometimes. You know what I mean? It's just you gotta know how to transform it.
In terms of the fight itself and the way it plays out, they're both southpaws. Do you think that influences the fight in any way?
I mean, I don't really think so. I mean,
so if you speak to Bob Santos, right, who's Garcia's coach, he would say that Hector has this insane amount of experience fighting other southpaws, whereas for Tank, that's limited in terms of the experience that he has in that situation, and that will play into Garcia's advantage. Is that something that you would subscribe to as well?
So I would think that Santos is, you know, maybe talking about the amount of southpaws he's fought as a professional. Maybe that's what he's talking about, but I don't really feel like that's going to be a bother because, I mean, Tank is from the DMV. So being from the DMV, you know, Tank has sparred all kinds of people, you know what I'm saying? And also growing up in amateurs, you don't pick and choose who your opponents are. Yes, Garcia probably went further fighting other southpaws, being that he was on that international scene and as an amateur. But Tank, you know, fought a lot of southpaws in the amateurs also. It's great that Bob Santos, you know, looked at that and, you know, pushed his guy harder to say, hey, man, you know, we might have the advantage of this because you're used to this. So I think that it makes it a 50-50 fight.
Oh, that's interesting to me. You think this is a 50-50 fight because both experienced amateurs, both southpaws, both unbeaten world champions, right? One of my questions was going to be, which I figured you would avoid giving a straight answer to, who do you think has the edge to going into the fight?
The reason I'm saying
you think it's 50-50?
Well, no, I'm not saying the fight. I'm saying it makes it a 50-50 if he's thinking like that and Tank is thinking like that. You know what I mean?
All right, so it's not a 50-50 fight in your opinion.
Nah,
what is it
to
then?
Me, we have this thing where we like automatically assume he's gonna win because of this. You know what I mean? And then we have this, oh my God, this happened. But I think the reason why I'm like that is because I've seen people that everyone said is gonna win, you know, lose to somebody out of nowhere in the amateurs.
Listen, can somebody get upset? Yes, I totally get that. Yeah. But at the same time, you're also a coach who spends a whole bunch of time watching two different people or number of different people in the ring and thinking and figuring out, well, here's where this person has the beating of that person, right? Here's where this person can beat that person. So there must be a part of you that looks at those two fighters, thinks about how they measure up and go, okay, I think I give the edge to Tank in this one, or I give the edge to Garcia because of X, Y, Z.
Because I feel like they both have edges. Tank's edges, he's used to the big show. Garcia's edges, he just came off a spectacular win against Chris Colbert. Boy, that atmosphere in DC is crazy. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that's going to be some pressure. You know what I mean? Right there. I had to come back on you on this one to see who I would say would win.